Thank you. Thank you so much, Shelley. It's so great to be back here with Girls Night Live. This is my second time, and I'm super excited to have you all here. Oh my God, I see, hey, Peggy. See some people I know, actually. That's super cool. Broadcasting from Delaware County, where we have hoagies and say water, for any of you who are near Philadelphia. And I'm a makeup artist, professional makeup artist. I'm based here in Philadelphia. I started doing makeup in New York City 30 years ago, got into makeup purely by accident, not exactly by accident, but not by plan. And I was very lucky to fall in with a great crowd. So one day I was not a makeup artist, and the next day I was doing makeup for brides at the plaza. And that's just a typical New York story. Stuff like that happens in New York City a lot. And that's one of the things that makes it such a great city. So I freelanced in New York for a number of years for a couple of different high profile makeup artists. Laura Geller is the person I first worked for. A lot of you have heard of Laura. She has a great makeup line and is on QVC, which is right down the road in Westchester. And so did that for her for a long time, and then another makeup artist, and then started going to school, finally going to college, and then went to grad school, and after grad school, went to work for a couple of different nonprofits. The second one brought me down here to the Philadelphia area to take a regional leadership position. That was in 2006. In 2005, I actually hung up my brushes, stopped doing makeup because I didn't need to do it anymore. And quite frankly, I didn't give a whit about makeup. I didn't care about doing it. I was not passionate about it. It was simply a way to earn money. And about a year and a half after they brought me down here to the Philadelphia area, hey, thanks, Becky. Just got my hair highlighted a little bit, but it's mostly natural. I see you laughing, Peggy. Anyway, so they fired me. It's the short story. And I was like, yay, thank you for the expensive move. I kind of looked at what was going on in the Philadelphia area and was really tired of being bossed around. So I decided to come back to makeup. I created my stage name because no one is named Becky Bow at birth. my real name is Rebecca. Oh my God, it's being recorded. Okay, hang on, I got to do this. Continue. All right, cool. So that was in 2008, and I will say that Philadelphia has been super duper good to me. And I've done many, many weddings, and I do a lot of private makeup lessons. I started doing my makeup for mature women workshops, and those have been really great. Brought those online this year, of course, and that's why we are all online together now, because everybody is living online, even in spite of the vaccinations, which are such a godsend and all of that. We now feel like we can get out in the world. But I think, you know, the online delivery system is actually really good, especially for people who may not be local to you. So I think it's still exciting and still worthwhile to do. I also, in 2018, opened the Paint School of Makeup, which is a professional makeup school in Philadelphia, and we're working on getting that off the ground. And so far, so good. It's a lot of fun. And so one of the things that's interesting about my journey in makeup is when I first started doing makeup in New York, I was about 30 years old. And when I was doing weddings, I was mostly a contemporary of the brides that I was working with. But when I came down to Philadelphia, I was closer to 50. And so suddenly, restarting this business, I was a contemporary of the mothers that I was working with. And one of the things that I realized was my skin had changed and the way I look. And I'm going to be 63 this summer. And I know what you're thinking. I just want to tell you, I'm in really good light. Not only am I in really good light, but I've had a little work done, which we'll talk about later. But in any case, so I realized that because my skin had changed and the way I use makeup changed, and because I was older, and because as an older makeup artist, women who were older were going to trust me a little bit more when I gave them advice, because you know you don't necessarily trust somebody who's 12 who's telling you, you need this glitter cut crease and this winged eyeliner, and that's what the trend is now. So you don't want to hear that. You just want to look better, right? So I've been able to really go full steam ahead with working with mature women, as I call it. And my workshop is called Makeup for Mature Women, although maybe I'll change it to Makeup for Grown-Ass Women. You'll have to let me know what you think about that. I was talking to the folks at Girls Night Live when we were thinking of this workshop and thinking of a name, and I, being the usual irreverent flip person that I tend to be, said, Makeup for Grown-Ass Women. They said, okay. So here we are. So what does that mean, makeup for grown-ass women? Because I think you've all been to Sephora. I'm sorry. You've been to Ulta. Apologize for that too. You've run the gauntlet of the beauty counters, not recently, but you know, department store beauty counters have always been where you kind of walk through like this and hope no one grabs you. And when they do, they sit you down and they tell you what the trends are and they slap some stuff on you, and $400 or $500 later, you are in front of a pile of stuff you have no idea what to do with. And you have a lot of buyer's remorse, but it sure felt good when you bought it. So that's kind of my mission. My mission is to help women avoid that scenario, avoid buying the wrong makeup, spending too much money, buying into the trends, buying essentially what is the lie that the beauty industry is telling you. And yes, I am biting the hand of the industry that feeds me big time. It's just what I do. So I will tell you, first of all, as if I were doing a makeup lesson with you, if I were doing a private makeup lesson, the first thing that I would tell you is that I'm going to teach you what you can do, not what I can do. Because the beauty industry has got women coming and going, believing the mythology that you sprung from the womb being expert at using beauty products. Just as a woman, you came out knowing what to do with this stuff. Not only makeup, skincare, hair care, fashion, all of it. And if you didn't believe that stuff, if you didn't believe that lie, you wouldn't buy a stick of anything because you know that you didn't have the expertise to use it. But no, you are told previously in magazines, now all over the internet and in social media that you can do this. So if somebody very attractive and very photogenic and very engaging is on YouTube, who may be your age, who's showing you how to do something, they're getting you to buy into the idea that whatever they're doing on their beautiful, photogenic, engaging selves is going to work on you. And that's not usually the case. Why? Because we are all very different and we have different needs. Which brings me to my next point, which is, well, what is makeup for then? What is it for? To me, as someone who works with the population that I do, thanks, Maureen. I'm glad you like the name. I think I may change the name of my workshop to Grown-Ass Women. Anyway, but to me, the point of makeup, this is going to be really hard for me not to get distracted. I'm just telling you right now, because I am postmenopausal and I can't remember where I am. Anyway, the point of makeup is, for me, is to remove distractions. So in a sense, it sort of works like Photoshop. It can work like Photoshop. It can remove, what are distractions? Distractions can be redness. A lot of us have that. A lot of us have gotten the rosacea diagnosis, whether that's right or not. It could be hyperpigmentation or hypopigmentation. That means, you know, for lighter skinned women, that can be brown spots. For darker skinned women, they can have, you know, some acne scarring, which can look quite black, or hypopigmentation, where there's a lack of pigmentation. Darkness under the eyes is a distraction. That's very common for women our age as we get older. Eyebrows that are not complete can be a distraction. Bad makeup can be a distraction, quite frankly. You've all seen people or known people or, who've had some like crazy eyeliner on or some line around their lip, and you can't stop looking at it. You can't even hear what they're saying to you because you're just thinking, what has she done? Like, what is that? Go wash your face. So that's what I talk about with makeup. And does it require a lot of makeup to mitigate, soften, remove, in some cases, these distractions? No, it does not require a lot of makeup at all. Oh, wait a minute, I have to say something. This is a disclaimer for all of the questions that are asking, because Judy, I'm sure you're very sweet, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I am not going to answer any questions that begin with, what is the best? I'm not going to answer a question that begins with, what is your favorite? Why is that? Because if there was truly a best, don't you think we'd all be using it and the beauty industry would collapse? You know, best is a relative thing. So yes, LOL is right, Kimberly Co. So, but I will get to your questions at the end as best I can, and you can always direct message me. So what happens after you remove the distractions? What can you use makeup for? You can use it to enhance your features. I did a lesson for a woman this morning who came to me. Her coloring, she had long dark hair. She was about to turn 60. She had beautiful yellow toned brown eyes, very petite, a darker skin tone, kind of a dark olive skin tone, beautiful brows, which is not common for women our age because we plucked the crap out of them in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And most of the time they didn't grow back. Woohoo! So, but she had these lovely brows, and her distractions was a darkness underneath the eye, which we were able to correct with a small amount of orange corrector, because orange and peachy colors do tend to be the right tone to use. And in some cases red, if you're a woman of color, those colors correct, in a sense, the ashy brownness that can be underneath the eye. So we did that for her. Thank you. I just got these glasses, and we're going to talk about glasses in a second. So we were able to even out her skin tone a little bit, because she was a little sallow in the center, tiny bit of that. A little bit of liner on the top. I actually used a plum color because of the yellow in her eyes. I was using color theory. If you look at a color wheel, you'll see that violet is on the other side of yellow, which means it's a complementary color. So I used a little bit of color theory to have that sort of plummy color work with the yellow in her eyes. We got her to curl her lashes because there are very few of you who have naturally curly lashes, and most people can benefit big time from a simple lash curler. I will mention a product because there is, all right, it is my favorite. I'm just going to say it. My favorite lash curler, I see people going for the pens, is made by Kevin Aquan, the late, great makeup artist. His lash curler is well made, and the pad lasts a long time, and the pad is rigid enough so that it really does curl the lashes. Some of them can be quite squishy, and if they're too squishy, they don't really do their job. So, so we look for the things to enhance. If you have lips that are still somewhat full, that's something that you can enhance, right? That's something you can celebrate. If your skin looks good, you can celebrate that skin. But I will tell you that each one of you in your little Zoom boxes, each one of you has something different, right? Francine's distraction is not the same as Kim's distraction. It's not the same as Penny's, right? So you have to sort of identify what those are. And I think what's very interesting about women is that sometimes women will come into the studio and they will complain about something related to the way they look. And they at no point mention to me what I'm being totally distracted by when I look at them. So they may be fixated on, well, I can't get my eyeliner right, or I don't know what shadow to use. And all I'm thinking is, you've got this redness on your face, which is totally distracting me from seeing you. Not only that, your eye shape, because a lot of us as we get older get a bit hooded. It's hoodedness related to age. We get that sagging, right? So I can't see your eye line. So why are you bothering with eyeliner anyway? It's not doing anything for you, right? Just because there is eyeliner doesn't mean you all have to use it. It doesn't mean that eyeliner is going to be super helpful for you. So we have to think about that, right? Just because there's eyeshadow doesn't mean you need to tchotchke it on your eye. It may not be right for your eye shape. And again, a lot of women who are older, unless they've had surgery, are dealing with a hooded eye from age. I'm going to just say this because I think it's the right thing to do. I had lower eye surgery in 2008. And I had a lower facelift and neck lift in 2016. I'm in the business. I agonized over it a bit. I asked people at my workshops, I said, would I be more legitimate to you if I aged naturally or if I just looked great? And I get photographed a lot. So I made the choice to do it. And I don't think I'll do it again, but you know, that's always an option. There is no makeup or skincare that is going to get rid of sagging. It isn't. I can polish you up and I can make you look great without the surgery. But yeah, exactly. Do what makes you happy within reason. I think we've all seen people who have kind of gone overboard with things like surgery, fillers, all of those things. I hope we know the difference and that we don't go overboard. But I will tell you that without any of it, makeup can really make you look your best if you're smart about it. One of the things that I find really unfortunate about the beauty industry is how makeup is marketed to well, it's not marketed to older women generally. We're kind of left out of it. I think the reason why older women are not marketed to is because is as much that older women don't look as compelling in advertisements as young women do. But also, I think that we're already buying the stuff. We're the ones with the money, right? We're already buying it. They don't need our dollars. We're giving it to them willingly. So I think if women our age stopped buying makeup, we'd see a lot more older women in ads because you know, they would want our money and they would need it. That said, for younger or older women alike, makeup is marketed like a toy, right? It's actually, for women our age, it's insulting. So like I'll show you like this guy right here. Sorry, Urban Decay, but this is a toy. Do you think you can use all those colors? I know you can't. And if you bring this to me, I know what it's going to look like. This one shimmery color over here is going to be all used up. And the rest of it's not going to be touched because that's what you do with this toy that you don't know what to do. And you know what? Put down the shimmer because it doesn't look good anyway, right? So yeah, when Urban Decay came out with the Game of Thrones branded palettes, that's when I really lost my mind. Why? Because first of all, Game of Thrones is not a kid's show. So who are they marketing this Game of Thrones palette to? Adults. Like we really buy into this toy stuff, the shimmery, glittery, full of promise and hope sort of, feeling that this product gives us. We're looking for a dopamine response when we shop for anything, right? It makes us feel really good to buy stuff. And then we have pixie dust, exactly, Kimberly. Similarly, here's a palette of blushes. It's a professional palette, actually, but you could find this in Ulta, something like this. Do you need this? It looks like a boatload of fun, doesn't it? Oh my God, you want it just because it's so pretty and you get it home and you're like, what do I do with that purple? Well, you do nothing. What do I do with this weirdo color? Zero, in most cases. But it just looks like so much fun. Can I use this? Absolutely. I could use this in my work because I'm a professional. So avoid these things. I would say avoid palettes almost completely because there's really no need for you as a lay person to ever have that many colors. Avoid gifts. If you recall, I know you've all run to the Clinique counter. It's not as big a deal anymore because of places like Ulta and Sephora, but before there was Ulta and Sephora, we were very excited about that Clinique gift with purchase, weren't we? Oh yes, we were. We stood in line for hours to get the GWP. And you know what? They always gave us the same damn color. It was always raspberry glacé and clover blush. And then one of those stupid little, one of their 3-step system thing. And, Clinique was very clever because women come to me still when I ask them to come in for a lesson, I ask them to bring me all their stuff. And they start pulling out the Clinique, and as they're saying, well, my skin's really sensitive, so I use Clinique. What a marketing ploy that was. They just slapped on white jackets and called themselves hypoallergenic. And you bought it hook, line, and sinker. It's not really true. These days, most makeup is devoid of the types of irritating products that would cause reactions. So most everything is kind of hypoallergenic. Clinique doesn't hold any real space in the truth of what that claim is, if that makes sense. So, I would say avoid these gifts. Spend your money elsewhere. If you're not in the Philadelphia area and can't come see me, find somebody in your area. I think that the people who would probably give a good makeup lesson, believe it or not, are people who are probably your higher profile wedding makeup artists who offer lessons. Why do I think they might be a good bet? Because they work with real women all the time, right? People who work in weddings have different people sitting down in their chairs weekend after weekend. We're not seeing just beautiful models. I mean, give me a photogenic, 12-year-old gorgeous model. I'll throw mud on her face and she'll take a great picture that will make you want to buy the mud. I'm not kidding. So, someone like that in your area, or maybe someone who's an esthetician who works with real people all the time, may be able to give you a good makeup lesson. Look for people that, who are less about selling you products or representing a particular line and more about kind of getting you to a good place with your makeup routine as quickly and easily as possible, so that you don't get confused and end up with another $400 or $500 worth of stuff that you do not know what to do with. I want to bring up a couple of other things since we're still Zooming, and I see us Zooming for the foreseeable future. Again, I'm in awesome light right now, which blows everything out and makes me look really good. If you're in a Zoom and if anytime you want to look good, think about the lighting you're in. I'm in front of a big pair of sliders. The natural light is diffused and it's coming in, and I have a decent camera too. It's nothing super special, but I have that. So I thought about that when I was going to be on camera today. So think about that yourself. Lighting is everything. Where do you apply blush on your face? Oh no, laminated eyebrows, stop. No, put it down, back off. Someone asked about, let's start with the blush. Someone asked a question about blush. Where do you put the blush? Generally, assuming you need blush, because there are a few women who have so much color in their cheeks, even with a little bit of foundation on, that blush may not be the thing that you need. But if you are someone who could benefit from blush, usually a good point would be to just give it a smile, get to the fleshy part of the apple of your cheek, and then you can just add a little color right to the apple of the cheek with a fluffy brush. That's that. And someone said brow laminating is the craziest thing I've ever heard of, next to microblading. I'm sorry if any of you have microblading, but I'm not a fan. I don't love eyelash extensions either. I think most of the time they look completely crazy town. But what is brow laminating, for those of you who are wondering? There are a bunch of posts on Instagram where you see these models, usually from the Eastern Bloc, who have these big, beautiful lips and these big, beautiful eyes, and then their brows are all brushed way up, going sort of straight up, which is a look I don't hate. But what brow laminating is when they basically permanently put them that way. They use almost like a perming solution to perm your brows up. Does that sound like a good idea? Please don't do it. I think anything that you do that has a kind of a permanence is probably something you should think long and hard about before you do it. There's some women who maybe have alopecia or have been through cancer treatment who have no choice but to work with a permanent cosmetic, maybe on brows or something like that. But honestly, you're better off doing something temporary. So that's the answer to that question. I want to bring up one more point in relation to makeup. Again, women will come in to see me. They will agonize over what to do with their eyes, how to look their best. And they come in wearing a pair of glasses that they've had for about 20 years, frames. So I do think if you're someone who wears glasses, I think it's important to think of glasses like makeup, right? In a sense, they can do an awful lot for you. I'll answer your lip liner question in just a second. But so I just want to point out, think about the glasses you wear. I just got these. Why? Because they make me super happy. Another reason, I have blue eyes, and the redness of these glasses really makes my eyes look blue. But just to give you a sense of how glasses can change you, because I've got way too many pairs of glasses, These are going to be a little more reflective because they don't have the blue thingy, but this is one, you know, this is just a different pair of glasses. It kind of changes the way I look, right? A little bit. And then here's another fave pair that I wear that are also a little bit different. But, you know, you can really change up the way you look just by changing the glasses. And I do think it's important if you want to be current, if you want to look modern, forget about trends. Trends are crap. Trends are all about marketing and getting you to buy stuff. But if you want to look modern, which I don't think is a bad thing, get yourself a damn new pair of glasses, for God's sakes. All right, let's start answering some questions. We have questions. Let's see, I'm going to look in the chat. What makeup brushes? How many do you need and what type? I love, love, love that question. Why? Because I also recommend that you don't go out and buy a set of makeup brushes. Why? Because you're going to have the same issue you have when you buy a set of makeup that you don't know what to do with. You're going to end up with a lot of brushes that are useless. I think it's better to buy a brush if say, for example, you're wearing powder foundation. I'm a big fan of powder foundation for those it works for. You're going to need a brush for that in most cases. Usually some kind of a brow tool, a tool that has a spoolie like this on one end so you can brush up your brows. Because just brushing up your brows is way better than not. I'm going to just demonstrate for you. This is sad, Becky. This is sad. I'm sad now. See? But if I brush up my brows, not laminated style, I get like an instant facelift. See? Brush up your damn brows. So a brow tool, you know, something with a little angle on the end so you can make short hair-like strokes and replace hairs where you need them. Most people can use a brow tool, something to apply color to the face, but I would avoid the sets because you're buying stuff that you don't need. Okay, what do I recommend for thinning eyebrows? Well, certainly you can use a brow color. I will say that brow powders, to me, can add volume, whereas a pencil or a wax adds a little bit more texture. Sometimes when women have really overplucked, and often they'll overpluck right here, that happens a lot, so our brows get like really far apart. So if you want to add all that color here and you just use powder, it's going to be kind of obvious when people are close to you that you've added that hair there. But if you just put a little bit of cream or pencil over that powder, you inject a little bit of texture as well. So that can help. But aside from using brow products, whatever you use, pencil, powder, cream, the brow products that the serums, they do in fact work for a lot of people. So a Revita brow, Latisse for the brows, which is prescription, but the same idea. The stuff that Rodan and Field sells, those things do grow hair for a lot of people, so you can try it. The downside is that it's expensive. You have to do it every day, and when you stop doing it, it stops working. But it's worth a try. I would start with a small size. I know Revita Brows sells a 2-month supply. I would start with that just to see if it works rather than getting the full size at $110 and see if it works for you. It might, but pay attention to your brows. If you're not paying, brows are everything. You know why? Because they express emotion. They help us express ourselves. So that's kind of why they're important. Let's see if there's any more fun. Do recommend henna for sparse eyebrows. I'm not really sure what that's about, honestly, so I don't think I can recommend it. Let's see. How do you conceal under eye bags? I love this. Okay, this is a biggie. Under eye for women is super important because we are starting to have fullness under the eye, unless you get it sucked out like I did. But we have fullness, we have discoloration. It can be brown, it can be red, it can be purple, it can be blue. And I think you all know that when we put a heavy duty concealer under the eye, it can look really cakey, right? It can look really bad. So there are some tricks to doing this. And one of them is to think about changing the color under the eye instead of covering the skin. Because if you're thinking about covering the skin, you are on a one-way ticket to like cakey makeup underneath the eyes. And again, I go back to the idea that whatever skin tone you are, from the lightest to the darkest, in most cases, a peachy to red color is going to correct that under eye. It has to be very, very thin. I'm going to give you a makeup artist trick. I don't expect you to implement it successfully, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I hope some of you have a little bit of maybe some facial oil at home, and it doesn't really matter what it is. It could be argan oil, it could be baby oil, it could be any kind of oil. And if you mix that with the concealer you've been blobbing on there that's so thick, if you mix a little bit and thin it, and then apply it very, very lightly, maybe with a fluffy brush, you'll find that that kind of melts into the skin a little bit better, thins it a lot, because you're getting less pigment and more emollient under the skin. So it's really the point of using as little as possible and something very thin and emollient under the skin, not those thick, heavy duty concealers, because you're just going to get into trouble with those. But it really is about color correction and not about covering. And I know you've seen those YouTube videos where people are packing it on, they bake it on there and they put all that stuff. But at our age, we can't do that and walk out of the house and not get looked at funny. All right, what else have we got here? Let's see. Eye bags. You can't conceal eye bags, by the way. You can, in one dimension, I can make the bags go away. But the minute you move out into light, where there's light coming down from the top and creating a shadow, all bets are off. So all those people you see who are looking so good on YouTube or even on TV or the red carpet, they are lit to the nth degree. They are lit from below, from above, from every possible way to remove shadows. Where do you stop foundation? Do you do it only on your face or also your neck? That's Mandy from Facebook. Hey, Mandy. It really should blend in. And honestly, your foundation should match. And when you're applying foundation, this is a general rule that I think works well to a point, is that it should really blend seamlessly into your neck. Now, as we get older, especially, you'll find if you look in the mirror that your neck is a different color than your face. Often the neck is lighter. So would you want to necessarily match your foundation to your neck? Not always, because you may end up, if I matched my foundation to my neck, I'd look pretty ghostly. You may need to darken your neck. And often with older women who are lighter in complexion, I will say use a little bit of like a rosy bronzer matte on your neck to connect the dots, because a lot of people have, hyperpigmentation here. They have a darker chest because of the sun damage. Then there's the light neck, and then there's the dark face. So you want to pay attention to that, right? With women of color, we tend to have more darkness around the bottom of the face, which usually you'll want to use a kind of a red corrector to brighten up so it doesn't look ashy. And so there's, a different consideration. But you do want there to be continuity between the neck and the face, but it doesn't always involve foundation. Sometimes it can just be a little bit of bronzer or something else that creates that relationship, right? Okay, the eyebrow henna question refers to using henna as temporary dye. Can you speak on this? Yes, I can. I'm also an esthetician by training, and I will say that the dyes that are used for tinting lashes and for tinting eyebrows are much longer lasting than the kind of dye that you would get at your hairdresser when they color your hair. And hennas, I know they come in different colors. And, traditionally henna was either clear or was very red. And in fact, that's how Lucille Ball got her red hair, was by using henna. And the lash tints and the brow tints, which is the same product essentially, come in different shades. So the trick with tinting eyebrows is getting the right color, and often it can end up looking too warm. And I can tell you personally, I'm experimenting with new shades right now myself, trying to get the right ashy color, because most of the time, no matter what your hair color, unless you're like a true redhead, you are looking for a color that's more cool, that's more ashy, that's more neutral. And having very red looking brows, if you're a blonde, isn't great. So I'd leave the tinting in any case to the professionals and hope you get somebody who's got a good sense of color and understands their product well enough to get a good result for you. And I hope, whether it's henna or another product. How do you enhance hooded eyes? That's from Tanya. Hey, Tanya. Well, often with a hooded eye, if I'm using foundation, or rather eyeshadow on a hooded eye, because if you think about it, The eye is sort of draped down here, so you don't see the eye socket so much, right? But if you want to enhance it or make the eye seem bigger, what we do, because we always respect the bone structure, I always say that even the people that I put somewhat dramatic makeup on still look natural. Why? Because I've respected their bone structure. I know where their orbital bone is. That's your eye shape. That's your natural eye shape. So even under that hooded eye, you have an orbital bone, right? You know where the eyeshadow should go technically. So if you have that hooded eye, what you want to use, in most cases, not all, is a mid-tone neutral color. What do I mean by that? A taupe of some sort. How do we choose what taupe of what sort? Well, and this is, again, for women who are a little bit lighter. For somebody who's a darker skin tone with a hooded eye, I'd probably move into the blacks and even navies and darker shades. But essentially what you're doing is you know where your orbital bone is, and you're shading right over that hood, in a sense, almost ignoring the fact that the hood is there, right? And adding a little bit of a matte shade. Why matte? Because colors with shimmer are reflective, so it defeats the purpose. They reflect light. A matte shade absorbs light, so you'll get a little bit more of a sultry effect if you can do that. I hope that helps. This is pretty makeup artisty stuff, and it's a little hard to answer in a forum like this. Let's see, what else have we got? How do you choose lip color? I will say that a lot of women, and that's from Robin Katz, you choose lip color. I find the way you do it is usually based on your hair color and your skin tone. So for example, the woman who came to me today, dark brown hair, olive skin. Like a lot of women, they tend to, she bought lip colors that tended to be very kind of safe, rosy, mauvey colors, the kinds of things that you would see sold at a Clinique counter, bless their hearts. And not only that, she had a lot of color naturally in her lips. Some of us have rather pale lips. Some of us have a lot of blue color in our lips. If you put those mauvey kinds of colors on lips that have that already that deep blueness, you get this kind of like purpley color that screams hypothermia. What can I say? So for her, what we did, you have that dark color and you're trying to sort of achieve maybe kind of like a nude sort of a lip. I don't want to say Kardashian. Barbra Streisand. Let's say Barbra Streisand. You want to sort of achieve a nude lip, but you never can because everything turns purpley on you. Well, that's because you're using the wrong color. I chose a color for her that was super duper putty colored. I don't think I even have any color like it. It would have been sort of along this range, but much peachier, almost looking like mortar, like a color you'd think, if I put that on, I'm going to look like death. Well, in fact, what that peachy, almost like blah color did is it canceled out that blue in her lips. So I put a little gloss over it. So we were able to achieve essentially what looked like a nude lip, because you do have to think when you're picking your lip color of what your undertone is, right? This is why you may see a color in a magazine and you go buy it and it looks like nothing like that on you because you haven't taken into account what your undertone of your lip is. So I think in a lot of cases, women tend to look good with warmer colors. A corally color or coral-based colors tend to look good on a lot of people. That said, when you're pale like me and kind of blonde with blue eyes, being a little bit pinker works. I will tell you that I was a redhead for 26 years, like red. And when I had red hair, pink lip colors didn't really look that good on me. I tended to use coral colors because of the overall kind of warm palette that I had going on. Then I went to platinum blonde. Suddenly, those warm corally colors looked orange. So I changed. Suddenly pink came back into my life. Not pink, but pinkish colors started to look good. Then COVID happened and I grew out my hair. And this is pretty much my natural color with just a teeny bit of highlights in it. So that kind of changed things for me too. And so think about your hair color and your eye color, and to some degree your skin color. If you have any oliveness or if you tan easily, chances are you are going to look good in a kind of a deeper, orange-based color. If you're a woman of color, I see a lot of women of color wearing true blue reds. I don't always love it. I like to see something that's a little bit warmer, a little bit more plummy, for most women of color. And things that are sort of like deep oranges and deep plums seem to work really, really well. What else have we got for questions? Let's see. Anyone else? Because if we don't, with 4:42, I'm going to answer one more question. What do we got? Let's see. I'll go down to the bottom. Ooh, someone asked a teeth question. That's really good. Apply blush on your face. Mandy, where do you stop foundation? We did that. Should your lip liner match your lipstick or be darker? Excellent. That's Pat from Facebook. I don't think you need a lip liner that matches your lip color at all. I think the best lip liner, the most useful lip liner, providing you need lip liner, and as we get older, let's face it, our lips are getting smaller. Choose a lip liner that's the color of your own lips. That generally will give you the definition you need without changing the lip color very much. And another little trick of mine is I tend to put lip liner on after lip color. Put the lip color on, then I use the lip liner to finesse the edges rather than kind of going like this and then putting on your lip color. So I think you can try that. Lip primers, my lip trick, I have to tell you before we go, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. How many of you have heard people say, I'm addicted to lip balm? Yes, people say they're addicted to lip balm. I keep putting lip balm on my lips. My lips are so dry. I keep using lip balm, but it's good for a little while and then it's not good anymore. Well, you know what? You know what your lips need? Put some damn water on your lips. That's what they need. If your lips are dry, before you put on your lip balm or before you put on your lipstick, just put some water on your lips. They will look and feel better instantly. Then you put your lip product on, you put on something that is occlusive, because lip products have waxes, they have oils in them, they are occlusive, they hold moisture in. So if you keep putting lip balm on dry lips, yeah, it feels better for a second, but you're really not giving them what they need, which is water. And the very last thing I'm going to do is don't be afraid of lip color. I do have some lip color on now, but I will tell you, as an older woman, the best thing you can do, unless you're already wearing crazy town makeup, in which case I cannot help you. But as an older woman, the best thing you can do for yourself is to wear the strongest lip color you can stand, right? Because it's going to do the most for you. Be brave with your lip color. I know it makes you feel visible, and we don't always want to feel visible, but a great lip color will do so much for you. It will make your eyes stand out. I'm not going to say pop because I hate that word. Let me demonstrate. So I'm going to just use this color here over what I already wear. And, am I going to feel super comfortable out on my sidewalk in this color? Not necessarily, but it looks so pretty, right? Put on some damn lip color. You'll look better. Thank you, everybody, so much for this wonderful afternoon respite with all of you. DM me if you want. If you're in the Philadelphia area, come visit me. And I want to thank Girls Night Live. As always, I think they do a tremendous job. What Girls Night Live has done over this last year is absolutely extraordinary. Shelley was saying that she's done 450 of these. That is amazing. So great job, Girls Night Live. Thanks for having me back. And I just want to thank you all.